Hello everyone, it is Arifire here and welcome to an impromptu episode of Look Out and Shout because we are at the end of Wave 1. This is all of the releases of the Earthspark Deluxe line with the BuilderBot features added. And I thought, as I've been doing shorts for at least the last year through these figures, to do a bit of a collaborative video at the end and actually do a bit of a review on them, showing you which one's the best ones, at least in my opinion, and the builder figure at the end. So yeah, this is 7 figures, well 8 in total. What's interesting when you look on the back of the packaging, 7 figures were meant for this line, which is everyone you can see here, and interestingly, not Thrash. One of the main characters in the TV series is not part of the 7 that is listed for release under this line. It's almost like it's separate. Now we're to believe that there are going to be more of these figures to come, but at least in terms of Wave 1 and certainly with the BuilderBot features coming with separate parts to build Mandroid at the end of it, Thrash did not come, at least to my recollection, with any additional pieces. So getting these all together, well, what's my view on them? There is some hits and misses, but I will say, as I've said throughout collecting this set, they are cheap, easy, fun. And there is that here. There is just simple fun. I've got them all in their alt modes, but there is playability to be had. The transformations are simple. If you just want something to fiddle with in a design that looks pretty good, then Earthspark really does have you covered. Some of them are a bit forgetful, and some are better than you expect. So I thought I'd go through and actually put them in a bit of ascending order as to which ones I think are the best and which ones are not so the best. So we start off quite simply with Megatron. Now this should really come as no surprise. This was not heralded as a good figure. It's a shame because this as a designed alt mode, this super chunky helicopter, which I don't know the type of vehicle it's representing, it's a very good idea for Megatron. It's just too small. It's too small to be taken seriously. It looks kind of pee-wee and meaningless in bot mode, and alt mode is much the same. So that has been the most lackluster figure of the line. If that came out in, say, a Voyager scale in the main line, then that would look so much better. Also, if the propellers actually pointed upwards, it would be nice, because that's what it does in real life. That's what it does in the cartoon. The toy should at least mimic that. Next up, from worst to best, is actually Optimus Prime. Now, I might get a bit of flack for that, but I just think this alt mode in particular holds him back. It's not a brilliant alt mode for Prime. It's not a brilliant version of the alt mode as well. So yeah, he was a bit lattlustering. I thought the bot mode was okay and it had good posability, and with the accessories as well, transformation was a bit more fiddly for Prime than it should have been. And honestly, for these two characters, the mainstay characters, then these two should be better at least. Coming in next is Thrash. And I will point out, I didn't hate this figure. I actually liked it more than I thought I would. The green being used is a really nice green. That's kind of teal green that's on there. And the grey is nice enough. I think this alt mode is a bit of a weak alt mode. And it is a very slender character anyway. Bikes aren't easy to do in Transformers. We don't see them that often. You need a very thin skeletal frame, so it makes sense, but it's just a little bit lackluster for the main character of the show, or co-main character anyway. And next we have Grimlock. I'm going to get a lot of flack for that one. It's just uninspiring in as much as it's a good design. I really like the bot mode, and the Dino mode is very Cyberverse, very typical jagged Grimlock with a cartoony edge. But again, this needs to be bigger, and I'm not a fan that the front claws, the front arms, don't move. It is very limited, no head rotation. There's a bit of up and down, there's a bit of jaw movement. For a design that looks cool, for a character who's very cool and made quite an impact when introduced to the show, this should be better. So yeah, that felt like a bit of a miss to me. And that's why he is where he is in my rankings. Coming in next, which was a surprise to me, is actually Bumblebee. I think this is quite a cool design. I really love his design for the show. He's very sleek. This is a bit chunkier than the show, but a real hypercar, supercar vibe of what Bumblebee can be. and how he's got effectively his own game now, which I like because he's a little bit forgettable in the cartoon. So the fact he actually has a cool looking alt mode and a game is pretty good. I do like the alt mode. I like the bot mode as well. So that surprised me about how cool Bumblebee is. And he is a mainstay character these days. He should have a bit of a spotlight. So I'm glad to see his toys come out well. Coming in next, we have Shockwave. Now, okay, this is a cheat because it's an exact copy of Cyberverse. But I have said before, I think all Shockwave designs for the alt modes are a bit rubbish. Shockwave has always had a bit of a rubbish alt mode, be it a gun, turret, whatever else. It's never too exciting. So this, I think, is the best use of Shockwave to date. A walking crab tank. It's not exactly brilliant, but I love that purple. I love the fact there's like a fluorescent tube going around. And yeah, I just really liked it. Yes, if you've owned the Cyberverse toy already, then this isn't exactly inspiring. So it's just one that I really like, and when I got it, considering I didn't have the Cyberverse version, this really spoke volumes with me. Coming in next is the recently released Nightshade, and I'm a sucker for Wingspan. You know, guilty as charged. The teal, that green, it's a bit of a love-hate. It's so reflective, it's so nice, and I wouldn't say I've got the best paint adaptation on mine, but photography-wise, this is a bit of a nightmare because it's so reflective on the outer wings, but this green is so dull, it sucks in the light, it doesn't reflect. And it looks really good in hand, but for photography, this figure doesn't pop as well. I guess behind, if I bring Thrash to the front, you can see it's that same grey and dark green. It can come across as dead. It can come across as a dead colour. So it's a shame. I do like it. I think it's got very good expression to it. It's already a popular character. So I'm glad I've got it. It does stand out with that very reflective wingspan though. So that's why it's the second best one in this set, which of course then you probably worked out who the best one is. And this should come as no surprise because a lot of people have said it. It's Twitch. It's a drone. The capture from cartoon into toy form is brilliant for robot mode. Transformation is a little bit fiddly, but once it's in place, it's not going anywhere. We've got a flying drone with some rotating propellers, I like it. Colours look good, shape is good, and for that to be the first release in this line, that was a strong early contender. Doesn't matter which mode you have her in, she looks brilliant. And this whole set together is good, is fun, but it does come with an end game in mind. Because straight from the depths of whatever lab he's coming from, here is Mandroid. And yeah, that's Mandroid. That's a bloke with some Cybertronian parts. Now, I will say he comes with 2 Cybertronian arms. He comes with a Bumblebee style one, which came with Shockwave, which annoyingly I've misplaced. I was very glad to find his normal human arm. And it's to show his transition into humanoid and Cybertronian parts. Now, I would have assembled him on camera. I would have built him up. But I will say, getting the stuff into ports, into the legs, into the shoulders, they're so tight, the ball joints, to the point that it really harms some of the articulation. He will move, but it's so stiff. There's no knee bend. There's a leg rotation. You can get some poses on the go. His Dr. Octopus style arms, but he hasn't even got a bend at the elbow. Okay, I'm not going to expect a lot, but it's the least posable of the line. You have to have him, to get him completely upright, you have to stand him mostly like that. These building features, I don't know if there's a place for them in Transformers. It's something that's been explored in the Marvel lines, you know, putting together limbs to make a character. It keeps you involved in a set. And I will say it keeps you involved in the Earthspark set, so it works. It's nice to have an end goal. But when you get it, it's got to be worth it when you get there. I'm not so sure this is. Not because it's not designed well. He looks good sculpting-wise, but the articulation is tough. And, yeah. I suppose it's the only way they could really introduce the character. How else do you introduce an evil human into a Transformers line? Something like this does work, particularly with his story being he's made of interchangeable parts. But the fact he doesn't even stand up, there's no ankle rotation, it's all from the hips. It's just a little bit lackluster. He won't stand up. He's hard to get into poses, hard to get into form. But there we are. That is the entire of the Earthspark line. I am probably done at this point. I don't see a need to carry on with this line now. I think I could probably move on all of these characters and say, do you know what, I've had my fun with them, it's time to give them to somebody else. It's fun to get them, but they don't have, say, the longevity and the replay value that some of the main lines, and certainly Masterpiece, does not carry. It's nice to have, it's fun to have, but it's short-lived fun. However good it is, if you just want a bit of simple fun, and if you're a fan of the cartoon, then yeah, pick some of these up. Particularly pick up the likes of Twitch, particularly Shockwave or Nightshade. But some of the others are a little bit forgettable. If you want to be a bit of a completionist, if you want Mandroid, if you want this on your shelf, then of course you have to go through all of them. But it's nice to have a set fully complete. I just think I've done my time with it. And there we go. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one.